And health alert today, this morning, the number of mumps cases in Central Ohio is growing.
Already up to 163
Wow.
cases now. That's a lot. That's all been reported here in Franklin County and Delaware counties. 103 of those are linked to the OSU outbreak.
Yes, and measles on the West Coast, we're hearing of those. 51 there, and then on the opposite coast, on the East Coast, 24 reported cases. So we ask, as we're in this odd predicament now with our guest, Dr. Wendy Anderson-Willis from Nationwide Children's Hospital, we want to talk about vaccinations. Is this directly a correlation to the fact that people are not getting vaccinated?
We think so.
You think so?
We think vaccination is key.
Okay.
Prevention is key. So when we look at our kids, it's time to make sure their vaccines are up to date. Absolutely.
What is it now that people are saying, I don't want to have my kids immunized? What are the arguments you're hearing these days from parents saying, I don't want to do this?
There are parents who question whether natural immunity, actually experiencing the disease, is better for them than to have the vaccines. Well, as physicians, we think it's definitely not better because we know that there are complications to these diseases. We also know that when the diseases are in the community, that all of our children are exposed. None of our vaccines are 100%, so we want to make sure that we eradicate the diseases, have great coverage with all of our kids, and keep all of our kids well.
Some kids can't have a vaccine because of allergies or whatever, so as long as everyone else is vaccinated, then they're less likely to get it too.
Absolutely. When we get our vaccines, when we vaccinate our kids, we keep those other children safe who may have cancer, who may have immune disorders, and they simply are not well enough to get the vaccines.
Right.
Well, our big question yesterday, we all got into this discussion a little bit. MMR, that's what we're hearing, the mumps, measles, rubella.
Yes.
When did we get it? Did we get enough of it? What are our children supposed to have? All those questions about that.
So most of us got it when we were younger. But if we were born before 1987, we probably only got one dose. So as adults, we need to make sure we go to our doctors and get that second dose. Very, very important. If you were born before 1957, you were probably exposed to the mumps virus. You're probably immune, and so if you're 57 years or older, you don't need the vaccine. So anyone who's born after 57, but before 87, needs that second dose.
Second dose?
So even if you had it as a kid, had the vaccine as a kid, you still may not be completely protected depending on when you had it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Get it checked out.
Okay.
And the dosage? It's just one shot? It's 2 shots in 2 different stages?
Absolutely. So the young people that come in, we give babies after their first birthday their first dose, and then around age 4, but before age 6, we give that second dose. So we've been doing that for years. So
Right.
most of our young people who are school age are absolutely covered. They usually have both doses.
That's why we're seeing this more in college-age kids?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are new vaccines, there are old vaccines. What's the difference and why do we keep them both around?
Well, we've seen how well the older vaccines work. They're super duper effective. We have some newer vaccines that are also equally effective at preventing some things like meningitis. And we know how devastating meningitis can be for our kids, so we certainly want to get those vaccines as well.
Let's talk about mumps. What does it do to you? What does it look like?
Mumps. So mumps, it's spread through saliva. So coughing, sneezing, talking, drinking out of the same cups, those kinds of things are how we spread mumps.
Or
And this is
making
what
out.
it looks like here.
Yes,
Or in a college
absolutely.
setting, making out.
Right.
Absolutely. So what we also see when it does develop, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to show up. So you may be able to spread the disease before you actually show signs of the disease. The first signs are fever, headache, swelling of one or both of the salivary glands, the glands that make the saliva. You can have body aches. It's a really, really difficult disease to deal with. But generally, it's self-limiting. It goes away within a week or so. So we want you, if you do have the mumps, we want you to stay away from everybody, stay home, and take some time to get well.
If you even know you have it.
Well, when those cheeks swell up, you're pretty sure
But
that
before then, are you contagious?
you are. So 5 days
yeah.
before and the 5 days that you have it, you're very, very contagious.
Wow. So you may not even know you're spreading it until you
don't
start
know.
to see that swelling begin
You
to
don't
happen.
know, and that's one of the scary things about mumps.
So get medical attention if you think you've been anywhere
Yes.
exposed or if you're feeling symptoms.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you so very much.
Thank you much.
Appreciate it.